I got 16 Twitch streamers who are brand new at chess to play against each other in a multi-week chess tournament. In the previous recap, we went through the first 4 matches of the first round of the tournament, and now we're gonna go over the second 4 matches of the first week of the tournament to see who qualifies for the quarterfinals. If you wanna catch the rest of these games live, you should check out the link in the bio to my Twitch channel where you will see it over the course of the next 2 weeks. Let's get into the recaps. We're also gonna mix up the order that we do these matches a little bit to have the more exciting ones come later. So we're actually starting with the matches from this past Friday, and then we'll do the Thursday matches second. Our first game from Sunday in the earlier time slot is Wid versus Pixel. We initially had Zaggard who was going to play, but Pixel wound up replacing Zaggard due to Zaggard not showing up to the event on time. Anyways, we have a very simple e4, e5 opening, but Pixel opting to play the wayward queen attack. Now, let me be clear. Wid is actually potentially the highest rated, if not one of the highest rated players in the tournament, and probably a very scary opponent for many people to be playing against, rated around the rating of 800 for this event with a peak, I think he said, of 950. So Wid, pretty strong here. However, Wid decides against the wayward queen attack, decides against Pixel to play pawn g6, immediately blundering queen takes e5 check, and it's already +8 for Pixel immediately, picking up the rook and Pixel's queen, just bullying this king pawn in the center. It is already completely destroyed at the top level. This game would be completely over, but the game does go on, of course. We have Wid. Wid is already crushed. You can see it in his eyes when he's playing in this event, losing a pawn over here as well. Wid is just trying to develop his pieces normally, pretend that nothing ever happened, and trying to make some threats of his own. You see Wid trying to play for knight takes c2 here, forking the king and the rook. You can also defend against this move by playing bishop d3, protecting this pawn, but Pixel decides to play king d1 and foregoing the opportunity to ever castle, but instead defending the pawn. It's still +8 for white in this position. The bishop's going to come developed, but get kicked immediately back out. We're going to trade knights in the center, which all these exchanges are very, very good for white, who's just up a full rook. It is +11 in this position for Pixel. +11. Pawn here with maybe ideas to put the bishop onto b2. We have the queen coming out, the bishop coming out here. Wid's trying to pose problems to Pixel's position or attack the rook, attacking here, attacking the rook. And with this move, Pixel doesn't see his rook is hanging. Pixel doesn't see the rook is hanging and plays pawn takes d3. And you can see the evaluation bar goes from +8 to -7 after queen takes a1. Top engine move. Bishop slides back to defend, but it's -14 now because this bishop is stuck here. The king can't castle. These pieces aren't developed. White is playing with 1 piece in this game. White is playing with 1 piece. The queen is the only piece activated in this position. And the queen is just going to start harassing White's pieces, and bishop comes in, forking these next 2 pieces. Oh my God. Oh my God. Picking up not 1, but 2 rooks, and White's just down a full rook now. And White's still trying to provide to pose some sort of complications over here on the king side, but Wid's just winning all of Pixel's pieces. Wid has won rook number 1, rook number 2, bishop number 1, and Pixel's pieces are just flying off the board. Queen coming in here and check, and oh my God, trying to get this queen trade, and Pixel actually has a pretty nice move here. Queen takes f7, really trying to get into black's position, trying to maybe get some other checks in, try to get some sort of counterplay, but Pixel doesn't see it. Pixel exchanges the queens, and Pixel is now down a devastating amount of material. And after the bishops come to the sides of the board and the rooks trade off, there's just a plethora of extra pawns here. Both passed pawns coming down. These bishops are just... The king can never leave this corner of the board. And the pawns are just going to promote. The pawn's just going to come in here. Both players have plenty of time. 4 minutes for Pixel, 5.5 for Wid, who should have no trouble checkmating in this position. Wid decides to flex a little bit, makes 2 queens, and the game will be decided by ladder mate here at the end on move 50. One of the longest games we've actually seen up until this point. Move 50, Wid is going to win game 1, and Wid actually winds up winning the next 2 games in a clean sweep, not getting shook by the wayward queen attack in game 2, either any sort of other mating threats or anything. Wid cleans up with a good 3-0 here. Match 2 is Cameron versus Evil Space Bunny. Cam playing on black, Evil Space Bunny on white. Cam and Evil Space Bunny might be 2 of the lowest rated or newest players in the entire event. In fact, both of them actually made chess.com accounts for this event. Both of them didn't have any other games in their account for me to estimate their rating. I wrote them both in as 400, but they might honestly both be like 200 for all I know. And this is actually going to be game number 3. I'm not going to tell you who won the first 2 games quite yet, but we're going to take a look at the third game because the third was the longest and by far the most exciting of the 3. So Evil Space Bunny on white, Cam on black, we have E4 and H6. So Cam's going to be playing a little more passively here. A very atypical rook H7 move. Not sure why Cam's playing this way, but okay. The wayward queen attack here, not going to do too much because Cam did not play the move E5 to begin with, so nothing to worry about there. Kicking the queen out, and actually, this position is already totally fine for black. In fact, the computer favors black's position here simply because this queen is on a very unusual square. The bishop is blocking one of the center pawns from coming out, and black can easily take control of the center. I mean, black can bring their knights out and put their pawns up, and black is going to do that. Black's going to bring their knight out and just play a normal developing game. Now, this is a bit unusual, allowing white to damage your structure by making this exchange, but it's okay. Knight to the center, and this position, again, plus 0.6, plus 0.7 for black. Black's doing pretty well here. Bishop comes out, but now you have to be very careful here. This move is -5 for black if black can find exactly D5. Not only hitting the bishop, but also a discovery on the queen, attacking 2 pieces at once. And this is a hard move to see. A hard move to see even at a higher level. So Cam, instead playing very solid, plays D6, the same idea of discovery, but a little bit less powerful. Okay, it's still -2 for black here, but Evil Space Bunny plays this is a move. G4, intercepting the attack, but now everything is hanging in white's position. This pawn is hanging this way. Or this way. This pawn is hanging this way. This pawn is hanging this way. Cam has so many options. It's like his pieces are going to just be coming in and just gobbling things up. Knight takes here in the center, still crushing for black. And okay, Queen D7, maybe thinking of coming in here, but we're going to trade off one of the knights for Evil Space Bunny. Okay, it's still great for black. And now Cam needs to move his knight out of the attack when D3 is played, but he doesn't see it. He instead plays Bishop G7. And Evil Space Bunny's up a knight. Evil Space Bunny's just up a piece now. And it just seems to get worse from there, because not only is Evil Space Bunny up a knight, but now Evil Space Bunny's up a queen after Cam sacrifices, after Cam plays a botez gambit and throws his queen away. And the game just continues to simplify. Cam throws away his rook, and his king moves to the center of the board, trying to tear apart at the position somehow. Check from Evil Space Bunny down the center of the file here. Check again, picking up a bishop, and now Cam just has no pieces left. Cam went from completely crushing like -5 position to having a bishop and a rook against. Look at all these pieces ESB has. Look at this army that's going to be coming in to tear apart this king, winning the bishop, winning the rook. Cam has no pieces left. Cam has thrown away everything, and Cam has a minute on the clock. Taking on E5. Oh my god, all the pawns are getting gobbled. And in this position, with 2 seconds on the clock, Cam loses the time. And even if Cam doesn't lose the time, only move is King C7, and there will be a checkmate happening in just a couple moves here. And even if Evil Space Bunny does not see this checkmate, I guarantee she will be able to gobble up these pawns and eventually win with the queen, the rooks, the bishops, the knight, the 3 pawns, the army of pieces she has. And Evil Space Bunny won not only this game 3, but she won the first 2 games as well in an even more convincing fashion. In fact, Cam and I chatted really quickly after games 1 and 2 because I wanted to help him out a little bit, and this was the best game he played so far and had a winning position. Both these players, mind you, were insanely intoxicated during this game and just ripping out moves. It was a fun one to watch. So both Widweeze and Evil Space Bunny won their respective games on Sunday and are proceeding to the quarterfinals of this championship. And now we're going to go back to the Thursday games. Oh my, things are about to get hot and heated here. Arlington Weaver and Kelsey does locks. Two other Twitch streamers who are facing off, who both have brand new chess.com accounts and are both what I thought were going to be similarly rated to players like Cameroon and Evil Space Bunny. But I was very impressed by the performance of one of these players. Arlington on white, Kelsey on black. We're starting with some standard stuff and the center game. The center game is when white plays two pawns out like this. You could of course take in the center, forcing the queen out, and then playing some sort of like a weird reverse Scandinavian where white actually is the one moving their queen back, but they already have a pawn in the center. Very unusual. This is totally fine for both sides. Kelsey decides to defend with the F pawn here. And again, both these players are very low rated. They both just made accounts for this event. Keep this in mind. Bishop out, normal developing move. At any time, of course, as black, you do want to, or as white, you kind of want to make this exchange or push or something like this. You don't really want to leave this here necessarily. Like best move here for white is to actually take the pawn. For black, the best move is to actually defend with this pawn instead, or this is not what black wants to happen. So knight's coming out. Both players are developing, kind of like ignoring whatever the heck is going on in the center. And instead of taking, Ari decides to push. Now Ari already has a lovely position here. It's plus 1.4 for white. Beautiful knight bishop and a nice big fat juicy center threatening the knight. Kelsey is going to jump out here. Okay, totally fine. Not the best move, but not hanging the knight. Castle's playing very safe for Ari and now trying to confront this pawn in the center. But the issue is, the pawn can just push. The pawn can just push, and look at this thorn in white's position defended by the queen. This is just such an annoying piece to have to deal with. What is going on here? And it's even more annoying when you miss that it's threatening your knight, because in this position, Kelsey blunders the knight and is already down a piece. Oh no, move 8. Kelsey has not castled yet. Not only that, but Kelsey can't castle because of this beautiful bishop here. And now the knight's getting kicked out, but oh my god, Kelsey's hanging another piece. And you actually cannot take with the pawn. You have to take with the bishop because otherwise the rook is hanging, but Kelsey doesn't see this and loses the rook, and Ari snaps this up right away. Ari's been playing very, very quickly and efficiently here, only using 1:20 so far. Kelsey's used almost 3 minutes on her clock. Kelsey is already getting obliterated. It is plus 15 for white here. We have a few more moves. Bishop comes out. Kelsey coming in to defend, and this trade, of course, is so good for Ari. Not only are you doubling the pawns for black, but you're up so much material. Trading is good, but Ari says, you know what? I don't even need to trade yet. Bishop a6. And now we're double attacking this piece. You cannot take me because then your queen is hanging. But Kelsey doesn't know how to defend against this. She just allows her bishop to get taken. She takes the rook and takes the bishop, but now she's down another exchange. Oh my god, she's down queen for rook. Oh no, Kelsey is just left with a bishop and a rook. And again, Ari can just take this at any time. But Ari's like, nope, I'm just going to take the free material. I'm just gonna get in here, get all up in your position. Like, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, I can take this bishop whenever I want to. So eventually, Kelsey takes. Kelsey's like, okay, like if I move this bishop out of the way, I'm gonna lose my pawn, and everything's just losing. Like, Ari's like, I'm still not gonna take your bishop. Queen takes c8, and I'm gonna take your rook first, and then I'm gonna take your bishop. And Ari just does so much material here. And after winning a few pawns and getting the pieces in, Ari is just coming in and harassing this black king, and Kelsey just has 1.5 minutes on the clock. Kelsey's just shuffling her king around, maybe trying to throw some pieces away, trying her best maybe for a stalemate. And it is actually close to stalemate if Ari doesn't deliver the right conjunction of checks here. But in this position, Kelsey does ultimately decide to resign this game. This was game 1 of the match, best of 5 between Kelsey and Ari. And let me tell you, games 2 and 3 were not much different. And Ari with a commanding sweep over Kelsey does locks, which leads us to our last match. Our last match of Thursday. Remember, we're doing these in reverse order. Wanted to save the best for last, of course. It's Cappy versus AKA Pox. Oh my. 2 players who on the board have very similar ratings, around 450 to 500-ish. Now, these players both have a few games on their account. I figured they would be good matches for each other. This is game 1. Cappy Cappy's on white, Pox is on black. Let's see what happens. Very standard opening for both these players, just playing a very typical thing. Cappy can, of course, play the Italian, the Ruy Lopez. Cappy can play the Scotch. Cappy can play whatever. Cappy plays the 4 knights, which is also totally fine. And then bishop d6 from Pox. Now, you're going to see this recurring in a bunch of Pox's games. Pox here plays what's called the Falk beer variation from black's perspective. And, you know, the reason, of course, it's called the Falk beer, which I said in commentary on stream, is because there's no shot you're playing this opening unless you've chugged like 8 beers. Because by doing this, you know, you can play this way, but you're sabotaging your own development. You can't bring this center pawn out anymore, which is going to make it also hard to bring this bishop out. And now you're forced to bring the bishop out this way, and your pieces are just like clustered together here, and it doesn't look very pretty. But anyways, this is the way Pox plays his games. That is totally fine. Okay. Pox blundering a pawn. Blundering the b5 pawn. Not the end of the world, but losing a pawn. Now, this would work if it was like an Evans Gambit style thing, if you could play something like c6 and d5 and get like a nice juicy center, but it doesn't quite work here because after a6, the bishop just goes back to where it was, and it's just happy there. And Pox is just up, or Cappy's just up a pawn. It's plus 1.6. Let's see what else happens here. Takes in the center, a little bit of an exchange, and knight coming out. Okay, we're solidifying the structure. It's plus 2 for white here. White has some very active pieces. White's up a pawn. Things are looking good. White has a castled king. Black now has a castled king. And we're taking the center. Cappy's up. It's plus 1. We're doing good here. Now, hitting the knight. The knight has to leave. But instead, bishop oh my god, bishop g5. Cappy blunders the knight in the center. Oh no! But wait, it's not over yet. Because now, Pox blunders the bishop in the center. After takes, you cannot take, or your queen is hanging. Your queen is just hanging. Oh my god. And Pox doesn't see it. Pox lets his queen hang and Cappy snaps off that queen. Oh my god. So look at the material. The material here, we have 2 rooks for 2 rooks, and we have bishop and knight for a queen, but with a bunch of weaknesses, a bunch of weak pawns in the position. It is plus 5 for white, but let's also keep in mind, Cappy has 3 minutes and 16 seconds on the clock. Let's see how we can manage this to try and convert this position. Queen comes out to try and get more active, attacking a piece. Knight moves out of the way. Queen's just attacking weaknesses in the position. The rook gets more active. The rooks double up on the open file. Pawn g3, kicking out the bishop. Cappy is down to a minute 45. Cappy has a minute 45 to convert this absolutely crushing position. Kicking the bishop out again. And oh my god, Pox hangs a piece. Pox is the one who has more time, but Pox is the one hanging pieces. Oh no, Pox. This cannot be happening. Rook slides over. Pawn comes up to challenge the pawn in the center. Pawns exchange. It's plus 9. It's plus 9 if you play the move f5, kicking the knight out, and then getting in with either of your pieces, anything. Oh my god. Cappy can't find this, so Cappy has less than a minute left on the clock. He's trying. He's going in with the queen. He's going in. He's playing f5. Rook comes out, and now, oh my god. Cappy blunders his queen with 13 seconds on the clock, but it's still winning for white. It's still winning because he's still up rook for knight, and he has an extra pawn, and this king is stuck here, and this knight is stuck here. Oh my god. It's still completely winning. King's trying to get activated. The white's trying to move his pieces to better squares. Oh my god, he's moving his pieces up. 7 seconds left on the clock for Cappy. 7 seconds. Cappy just throwing pieces forward. But Cappy's losing his pawns. Cappy's just throwing away his pawns. Cappy just lost 2, and now white is up. Black is up a pawn. It's only plus 3 in this position. White lost a 3rd pawn, and now white's sacrificing the rook for the knight, and he's just sacrificing the other rook, and he has 3 seconds on the clock. And after making this move before, black even has a chance to respond. White resigns. Cappy just resigned. Cappy resigned because after king takes rook, he's just losing on time. And not only is he losing on time, but Pox has 5 pawns to 3 and a full rook, and the game is over. And after completely crushing the entire game, Cappy loses game 1. And actually Pox won game 2 as well. So you'll notice the players actually alternate colors between games. Cappy was black on game 2. Cappy lost that one as well. And this is it. Pox is playing for a clean sweep here against Cappy. Let's see if he can do it. Let's see if Cappy can try again on white to get some sort of attack. Oh my. Queen h5. We see another wayward queen attack. Let's see how Pox responds. Oh my god. Pox plays one of the best moves. Knight c6 defending the pawn in the center. This is great. You can't take this pawn anymore. None of this nonsense that we saw from Widweed's game. Okay. Bishop c4. Okay, now guys, what's being threatened here? There's a very critical weakness in black's position that has a lot of pressure being put on it. You can defend this in a few different ways. Pawn g6, knight h6. You could bring the queen up, but Pac's in this position with knight f6 and Cappy snaps off. Queen takes f7. Checkmate for the fastest checkmate of the entire tournament happening in game 3. Cappy has a point in this match. Oh my God. Things are heating up. Things are heating up. Game 4. Pax is on white now. Pax is on white against Cappy, and Pax is just playing this absolutely ridiculous Falkbeer variation again, which I told Pax after this, Pax, if you're in the chat right now, you can't be doing this anymore. None of this bishop here blocking your pawn, and you'll see why this was a bit of an issue in this game. But anyways, so we have pawn coming forward, and both players trying to get some pawns in the center, developing their pieces. This is fine. Okay, fine. Everything's fine so far. Pawn up here, and this is actually minus 3.6 already. In this position, it was minus 0.8, but once you move this pawn up, it's minus 3.6 after the move d4. And this is so good for black because black's got a better center. Look at white's pieces. If d4 happens, look at white's pieces here. How is this queen ever getting into the game? How is this bishop ever getting into the game? How is this king ever castling? Oh my God, queen over here could happen at some given moment. What is this position for white? Look at this weak king on this diagonal. This is getting kind of scary. Now, Cappy doesn't play the move d5, but still plays a totally fine move, bringing the bishop out, and still black is playing for an advantage. And now white goes knight g3, but white is missing something very critical here. White's pawn is simply hanging. You're attacking the knight that's loose, but this wins material and defends your knight. Cappy doesn't see it, instead moves his knight to a safer square. Okay, I don't blame you. That's still totally fine. Totally fine. -3 for Cappy. -3. Knight jumps in, and again, you take here. It's just going to be like -6 for black. Just take the free pawn. Take the free pawn, and oh my God, this queen is just coming in. I mean, you'll have to remove the knight first, but this queen is just getting into the position. Look at this bishop. Rook can never go here to stop it. This bishop is insane. It is ludicrous. Like, all your pieces are about to get activated with this queen move. Your king will forever be safe behind here. Oh my God. Okay. G6 kicking out the knight. It's still -4.6. The knight hops in, but the knight is trapped. And now the knight is hanging and the pawn is hanging. Oh my God, this is so bad for Pax. What is he going to do? It's -8. Oh my God. So knight jumps back and you just win the knight here. It's -8 takes, and okay. Knight b6 from Cappy. Okay. Bishop retreats. Okay. Picking up a pawn. This is still so good. Look at this juicy center for black. Look at these bishops. Look at these knights. Look at these ponies. Oh my God. Everything is turning up Cappy here. And Cappy seemingly throws away the entire advantage with the move e4. You needed to play a move such as queen takes g5, knight c4, just continuing the pressure. We don't want this break to happen yet. And we don't want this break to happen because it is just losing a knight. The knight is just available. You're just hanging a piece for no reason, and it's still good for black because your position is still so crushing because this king's just sitting like a duck in the center, but Pax doesn't see it, and it's still good for black. Oh my God, 2 pieces are hanging, but it's still a winning position for black. This is insane. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just take this and just shred open the center, and pieces are just going to fly in here. Okay, he takes. Okay, the queens see each other. Okay, trading the queens. Okay. But again, this is hanging, but this is hanging. This is like a tactical shootout. What is going on in this game? We have knight to f2, ignoring the fact that the rook is hanging from Pax, and Cappy snipes that rook up. Cappy snipes at that rook on h1, and oh my. Can you look at this board and tell me which position you'd rather be playing right now? Can you take a peek at whose pieces are where? Because after knight takes on h1, Cappy is setting up his pieces for the next game. Cappy's pieces are all on the back rank. Every single one, even the pawns. The only piece that's not in the starting zone of the game is this lone pawn that has been hanging for like 17 moves. This is just unbelievable. Oh my God. Position's -9 for black, but look at the time on the clocks. Cappy with 3 minutes. Cappy saw time troubles in the first game as well. Pox with 4 minutes, also low on time. Players start moving. We have check from black. The king's moving out. The rooks are connected now. Okay, there was a hanging knight that Pox finally saw. Pox sniping up that knight. Cappy's still up in exchange. He's still up in exchange in this position, and his pieces are more active for sure. Rook coming over here doesn't do too much, but it's still positionally winning for Cappy. And now, oh my God, it just went from -2 to -10. You do not want to hide your king in here because your rook is now dead for the rest of this game. This rook will never be used. It's almost like you're down another 5 points of material because you shut down your own piece from getting into the game. You're basically playing with one piece right now as white. And Cappy is threatening potentially to double the rooks and just get in here. And you'll see that he's just threatening to do it now again too. And you're just gonna win material if you get in. You're gonna win both the bishops, and then like Cappy doesn't see it though. Cappy doesn't see it. It's -1 again. But the king was in the corner, and again you're gonna threaten to come in with mate now. You're threatening doubling rooks and mate in like 3 moves. Mate in 3 moves. Rook e8. Oh my, and then rook down here, and then after takes, this is mate. It's mate, and even if it wasn't mate, even if the king was here, you would threaten winning 2 pieces. King takes, but Cappy is down to 1:30 on the clock, and Pox at 2:45, still holding in there. Making an escape square for the king. Love it. Knight comes in, bishop comes out, threatening the rook. Okay, and oh, knight is check. Okay, check, but the king's gonna come over, and then this is hanging, and this is hanging. You have to be so careful. And here, Cappy needs to find rook e2, defending the knight and also attacking the bishop. Oh my God. Oh no. And then if bishop were to come up here, you would win it. You can't move the bishop to counterattack the rook. It's so, and you have just all sorts of discoveries on the king with the knight. Oh my God. But instead playing here, and it just hangs a rook. And it's still winning for black. It's still -1.4. It's still winning. But you have to take. You have to take, because look at how passive these pieces are. You have to take and get your rook into the game, and Cappy doesn't see it. And Cappy's just gonna lose more material, and after Cappy moves bishop back, he just sees the writing on the walls. I mean, you're gonna lose this piece, and it's +10 here for Pox. The game is simply over. White will have won too much material, and Pox is moving on to day 2, to week 2, and the quarterfinals of the POG Legends chess tournament. My God, these are some exciting games, and I'm looking forward to see more exciting games in week 2 of our coverage. Don't miss out on week 2 of this event live on twitch.tv. Link is in the description below. If you enjoyed these recaps, consider subscribing here on YouTube. There will be more videos that you might like that'll pop up on the screen. I will make sure to see you all in the next video. As Gotham says, get out of here.